Good afternoon, everyone out in LAC land. It's Dr. Ana Valdez, and Happy New Year. I know it's February 5th, but excited to be bringing you the 2026 edition of Ask an Educator. Ask an Educator is our video cast that we do live with area educators who have been in the classroom, are new to the classroom, or have retired from the classroom over the past year. And our first guest that we have kicking off 2026 is no stranger to the classroom, to mentoring, to doing amazing things in the community. So I am excited that we are going to be hosting a variety of teachers this year and educators that really impact the lives of our community, of our young people, our young Latinos across the metro area. So I hope you enjoy this interview. It is basically a conversation with me and our invited guest that will talk about all things educator. And so today's guest, I'm the host, but today's guest is Sue Moreno. And Sue is a retired educator. She devoted 35 years to teaching art in the Kansas City, Missouri School District, where she touched countless lives through her creativity, kindness, and unwavering belief in her students. She taught far, far more than art. So if you know Sue, you know that she teaches confidence, talks about culture, and the courage to express one's voice. She's deeply, deeply committed to supporting young artists. Sue became a trusted mentor, and she mentors our futuro educators, so young teachers in the classroom. She especially connects with the Hispanic community, where she was honored with multiple Mentor of the Year awards for her guidance, advocacy, and heart-centered leadership. Her classroom, when she was in the classroom, was a place where students felt seen, valued, and inspired. Her legacy lives on through the many lives she helped shape through art. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Sue Moreno, our first 2026 Ask an Educator host. Oh, and I would be remiss if I did not introduce our special guest, Ginger Rogers Moreno, who is with us today. And so Ginger will be asked a few questions. Hi, Ginger. And we'll get a chance to learn more about Sue. Welcome, Sue, to Ask an Educator.
Thanks. I guess I taught Ginger how to use her voice too.
Absolutely. Well, I am not surprised by that. She was saying, hola, hola, comunidad, right? So, Sue, tell us a little bit about, your time in KCPS. I know that you were at a couple of different places, but tell us about your time in the classroom. First off, tell us why you became a teacher. We know that you were an educator for quite a few years, and then you decided to leave the classroom as a retiree, and what life has been like since then. So start with the beginning. Why did you decide to become an educator?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me as a guest, Anna. I just really appreciate you and the platform here to be able to encourage others to go into education. I started back when I was a little girl. I loved teaching. You know how you went home after school and started playing teacher? Yeah, all of us. And, we always had really good teachers. I grew up in Iowa and come from a deeply culturally rooted family that believed in education, and that their saying was, listen to the teacher, do what she says or he says. And back then it was mostly she teachers. So going through school, I had opportunities up and coming, because I really wasn't too much of a good student. I enjoyed school, but I mostly did art because that's what we did at home. And my mother was real instrumental in guiding us and doing a lot of crafts and things at home and helping in the kitchen and teaching. And so I learned from there. And then also, as I grew up, I was during an era of high school in the 70s that equal opportunity was in the making federally, a lot different than it is now. And there was a huge push to get representation and visibility into the institutions of higher education. Well, being a backyard alley student, hanging in the alleys, hanging out with my friends, smoking cigarettes, and being what you shouldn't be doing in high school, I said, hmm, I'm not doing anything. So we had these counselors come from the University of Iowa and talk to us and ask us and tell us all of the benefits of going to the university. Well, my number one was I get my own room, a dormitory. I get to be on my own. I'm going to be 18. So I was going for different reasons, but it ended up changing my life and inspiring me to really continue and ask other people to go into the field of education because we need to be visibly there. And how many of you now have teachers that are Hispanic or Spanish speaking or culturally relevant from all of the different labels that we've been given?
Mhm.
We know who we are brown people, and we come in a variety of hues, but we all have the same culture of similarities of making it here in the United States.
Yes.
So I
So,
ended up teaching at the through a cooperative urban teacher education, moved down here and did my student teaching and fell in love with Kansas City and
yeah.
stayed here, taught 25 years in the Kansas City, Missouri School District and 10 years at the behavior management. Imagine that at Hickman Mills School District.
Well, I'm gonna jump in here really quick because I want to go back to something you said at the onset, and that was that you're from Iowa. So,
Yes.
and I knew that, but I don't know if we've ever talked about my Iowa connection via my husband. He's from
What?
Des Moines. Yes, yes, yes. So he would probably identify with the alley cat standing in the alley with the kids just in school and smoking what they're smoking and all that kind of good stuff. So what part of Iowa did you grow up in?
I grew up in Davenport, Iowa. It's part of the Quad Cities
Yeah.
with Illinois as our border.
Yep.
And so it was really, and I have a large family on my mother's side from they're the Garnicas, and they
Okay.
still live there. I have lots of cousins in that, and huge Mexican population in Iowa because of the industry of farm labor and also because of factory work
Yes.
and
Both.
that. So blue collar workers or field works, you
Hey,
know.
there's a job that supports families and or community, and you gotta make that happen. But I love hearing the stories about where people come from because so frequently, uh, currently, we have people that believe that we just all arrived, yesterday, and that our community is so new. I was just having a conversation with somebody before this call and we talked about the length of time that people have been, Latinos in particular, have been in this country. And that is exactly it. People have come for centuries. There were Latinos, in the American Revolution. So, over 250 years, because that's what we're celebrating this year is the signing of the Constitution. But Latinos live in a variety of communities, and case in point, Davenport. And Davenport is a really quaint town.
Hmm.
I'm married to an Iowa man, so we've been back to Iowa.
Corn fed, corn fed.
um, and so I grew up in Davenport. You did, and then you did some student teaching down here, and fell in love with Kansas City.
Yes, and I really love the educational system because, new teachers, we want to change the world. How can we make a difference? And during that time period, women didn't have a lot of choices, especially women of color, when we went into the institutions of higher education. You could go into the trade of being a receptionist,
Mhm.
you could be a nun, a nurse, you could do things like that, but it wasn't as such a variety as we have now for our young women and young people.
Yes, yes, totally agree. Yeah, there's a different trajectory people get to choose now versus being directed or hurt it to certain things. So why art? What it besides the home crafting that you and experience you got with that? Now that you're an educator, right here in Kansas City, a young person, what is it about art that feeds your soul?
Well, I think it's because I always have and I always will have the spirit of play and
Okay.
I'm creating and letting things happen in front of me and being involved in them. So, my mother was a huge instrument, and my sister's even a better artist than I am. And we all are just constantly creative. And I think that's something I can't prove, but is part of our culture, genetic, or that we like these bright colors and we like the fashion. We like to express ourselves through not only our food, but also our surroundings. So I was surrounded by that, and it just gravitated towards me. And when I found out I sure wasn't going to be teaching any math, don't have me spell for you.
Well, you say that, but art is all about the division of the canvas into parts so that you can get the whole picture. So don't tell me you don't understand math because I know you do. So
Well, that's the thing. They didn't explain it back in those days. And even now, they don't explain that
yeah.
every single subject could be taught through art, hands on, whether that's math, science, reading, writing, everything comes through a vision first. That's
Mhm,
why it just upsets me so much when they say STEM and they leave the A, art, out of STEAM.
mhm.
That's where the
No,
vision starts.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I cannot draw. I cannot sing. I dance, but only in private. And I love to. I mean, um, uh, to watch a great performer in their medium, right, is so inspiring and moving and amazing, whether it be a piece of art, whether it be in dance or singing or whatever it is. It really, I think that God has, in my personal opinion, God has tapped artistic people with an extra dose of ability to express what it truly means to be completely connected with self.
Well, and I think when you're a teacher, you
Mhm.
encompass all those areas because you have to perform in front of the class to keep the class involved. So entertaining, dance, got to dance around, move
Yes.
around the room. You can't sit in front. You've
Well,
got to
that's when
be,
I used to dance. I used to have dance off competitions to whether somebody would have to take a test or not. So I get you.
yeah. So you have to involve all of the arts to
Mhm.
really be a creative teacher, and that's what I think really drew me to it. It was like having my own little stage, and they had to stay.
You got a captive audience.
Yes.
So, talk to us a little bit about mentoring. How did that come about? Why take the extra load of mentoring young people? And what has it done for you?
Well, I think it's been a gift it's kind of an unexpected, but I just feel like at this age, that's where I need to go because someone did that for me.
Okay.
Someone showed up and took me under their wing and guided me and gave me advice, not too much, but enough advice to steer me towards what do you think? What do you want? And I had to figure it out. So great conversations. And then also that all the way through my education, I had very few Latino teachers. And I thought, what? Why? Where are we?
Mm-hmm.
But we're there. We're in our homes. It's our mother, it's our father. But as far as the educational system and certification and all of that, that's part of the American process that we need to all learn to get to where we want to be. You have to have those pieces of paper. They will open up doors you never knew. So I love mentoring young people. In fact, this Saturday, I'm going to be mentoring a middle schooler that contacted me, and I was like, "What middle school?" I said, "Hey, you got to start as soon as possible because we really need Latino educators in our schools."
That is so true. So true. So, um, so you're doing some mentoring now. How are you involved with LEC in regards to art and or mentoring?
Well, through, in fact, your wonderful program that you had, Anna, that you do an incredible job of. We have some teachers within the district and outside the district. That's what I like about LEC, because it's inclusive of the Guadalupe Center, charter schools. It goes all the way, they even have sites that include if people want to in other cities, if you're really interested, there's that connection of resources. And I think because of your leadership, Anna, we're able to have fun doing it because the workshops that I've come to that are here, because teachers are busy and that's the last thing they want to do is be sitting listening to a talking head. But you do activities that are hands-on, they're fun, and they're so informative because number one, teaching is being able to participate and relate to people. And that's what our culture, to me, is our best the advantage of the Latino culture is our personal, just being super personable and hospitable.
Well, thank you so much, Sue. Yes, the program that Sue is mentioning is our Futuros program. That is the program for young, or I should say, new teachers. You do not have to be young, but you just have to be new into the, first 5 years of teaching in the classroom. And we work with those individuals so that they feel supported, that they feel seen and heard, and eventually can take that and help their students be successful. As you know, Sue, the first 5 years are the most critical years for any
Mm-hmm.
teacher. In particularly the Latino educator, if they can make it past the first 5 years, they will stay in teaching their entire career. And what we are finding out that young Latinos, when they come into the classroom, they tend to leave after 2.5 to 3.5 years. And so it's so important, so vital for us to make that connection and make sure that they know that they have somebody that they can talk to that has been through that experience, that has walked that walk. And Sue, that's where I love your mentoring with some of our futuros has been immeasurable because you take the time to hear them, see them, be with them. Those that teach art and those that don't teach art all need that coach, but also a cheerleader. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many times you have said this to a young educator, and I say it on a regular. Well, that's great. That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Or that's great. That's exactly what you're supposed to be feeling. Because I hear so frequently, I feel like I'm not doing enough for my kiddos. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not doing enough I feel bad that my students aren't moving at the pace and that they should be, or I want them to be. And sometimes it's a sad reality. I had that conversation not too long ago with a young educator, and I said, "Look, you're their fifth teacher that they've had. You
Mm-hmm.
don't teach kindergarten, you don't teach first grade or second grade or third grade, right? So you're the fifth year that they've been in school, and you're doing everything that you possibly can to help them be successful. That's the most important thing you can do." And would you add anything to that, Sue, as to a message to a young educator?
Well, yes, thank you for bringing up those really valuable points, Anna, because I think sometimes when you're teaching, you feel like they're not getting it, they're not listening to me. Then why can't I help them more? Well, you are. You don't realize it though until like they see you in the grocery store 10, 15 years later. You don't even recognize it because they have a full beard. And then so you had them in first or second grade, and oh, I remember your class. I just loved this and that and the other. And you just think, the rewards come later,
Mhm.
and they will impact, or their parents will tell you, they'll say, my student or my child loves coming to your class. And because once again we have that personality type. And in fact, that reminds me, one of our mentors, Daniel, I've got to contact him because he's such a good art teacher,
Mhm.
and he's gonna do some clay and some ceramics with arts tech there. But yeah, I think it's just real important to just let them know everything they're feeling: burnout, tired, exhausted, paperwork. That is a part of the job, but the best part is the students.
Yes, absolutely. And I get, why people stay. I was just watching the coverage on the woman who just broke the Guinness World Record. She's 90 and she's still teaching.
Oh, Lord. Oh, no.
She doesn't have any plans of retiring. She teaches ELA, English Language Arts, and
Wow.
she has been at the same school. And she does not look 90. When I said she doesn't look 90, but I don't know if my knees could take it standing that much, and maybe there's adaptive whatever, but it was just amazing that exemplified why people get into education as educators, as teachers, because there's just something that every single day you find something deeper within yourself to share with the young people. And if you're calling it in, or you're just kind of whatever, then that's not the right career for you. But if you can feel that burn to like jump out of bed, okay, slowly get out of bed at a certain age, right? Because everything hurts. It's just a great way to have that. It's kind of like what was Ponce de Leon looking for? The fountain of youth. The fountain of youth. And that can be your young people that are in your classroom. So what else would be impactful for people to know about Sue, to know about teaching? What would you tell a younger Sue if she hadn't chosen education, or was still kind of waffling? What would you say to her?
Well, I would say I'd just be more vocal about the pay that the American system puts into educators, that it needs to be valued more.
Mhm.
And I would also probably, I don't know if I would pick the career. I would always be teaching,
Mhm.
but it'd probably be in a different capacity where I could make a difference as an administrator more than just as a teacher. Because I think we do the grunt work, and we have the experience of really being impacting the student's life. But as far as legislation and things like that, I think I would have tried to go up to that level more to see if I could make a difference.
Okay. Well, it's never too late, Sue. I mean, I just gave you an example of somebody who was
Not,
teaching from night until they were 90. So,
no,
you got some tread still left on those tires.
well, okay.
um, so I mean, that's fantastic to say that, because I think sometimes we, and I use this analogy all the time with folks, we take ourselves out of the game, right?
Yes,
We think, oh, we don't have the experience, or we don't have the knowledge, or we don't have, we just look at all of our deficits, especially as females, and especially as Latinas or Latinos. We tend to always be deficit minded, that we can't do, we don't know, there's, other people have. And I I would just say, put a, what do you call it, a penalty flag on that, because that's not true. You just shared all the knowledge and experience, and your experience and your knowledge and your abilities were no different than anybody you worked under. And
that's right.
you probably had more robust ability because of your background, because of your familiar support, right? The support of your family. So why didn't you ever try to become an administrator? What was it that held you back from that?
Well, I think it was my writing. I wasn't able to follow the higher education. I tried several times. I really wanted that ED specialist, or
Mhm.
ED on the end of my name, but the the coursework and that it was just, I didn't see how it was going to really help me make that impact like I would teaching in the classroom.
Hmm.
And the pay wasn't that much more, and the headaches and the responsibility were 10 times even more as an administrator.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel that I wanted that. I just think it's real important to not only professionally engage yourself as much as you can, but remember to have that balance of home, family, and other interests, because I know people now that have retired, they don't know what to do, so they're looking for a job. And I'm like, what? You better get a hobby. You better get an interest, share what you love, your passion, because I'm busier now that I'm retired than when I was working. And I
Yeah.
love it's all the things that I love to do.
Yeah. It's you busy, not work busy.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly.
Hmm. I get you on that. I get you on that. So what? So here's your time. The next, Deanna Munoz said hi, Sue. Um,
Hi.
Deanna.
Yeah, she's running for school board. I'm so proud of her. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, that's what I'm talking about, representation. You go, Deanna.
So tell us, give us a 2 minute, if you're a young person or if you're a parent of a young person, um, why education?
Well, because education is that threshold that if you cross that, it opens up not only educationally, but it could go in any direction politically, like Deanna is, making your voice be heard. That's to me number one that education has gotten, that I've really absorbed and loved to share with other people, is because your voice is important. Not everybody, you don't have to agree with everyone, but you do need to voice what you have to say. And the educational platform, and of all things, growing up in Iowa, it prepared me to, I can go anywhere and feel comfortable because I was surrounded by always being the only one, the only brown one in the group. So I can pull out those tools and make it anywhere and with integrity
Mhm.
and being authentically Sue.
I think that's your new tagline, authentically Sue.
Oh yeah,
And
can't
that's
be
so
anything
true.
but.
Yeah, I think that is so true that education, as a pathway to, is also a freedom, right? So to
Yes.
be an educator, and like you, I wanted to be an educator my entire life. So to be an educator gives you that structure, that pathway, and it also gives you freedom to explore topics, even within art. You can go from Michelangelo to Basquiat, right? And everything in between. And that's even an old artist now. I mean, I should know more contemporary arts, artists, but those type of things, I think people don't realize that as an educator, as a teacher in a classroom, you are constantly learning. And why is that important? Why is a constant learner or lifelong learner important in education?
Well, most of all, if you look at it, that you're learning yourself as being able to pull out those different tools in different situations.
Mhm.
Never, and it builds that confidence of you as a Latina, as a woman, and to make sure that you think about what you say,
Mhm.
hopefully, before you speak it. And it gives you the platform where you can learn different skills on how to stand, how to pull people in. It's like storytelling, and that's my other passion that I love to do. And I can fit anywhere and I can go anywhere and participate in a discussion. Even if I don't know anything, I'm okay saying, I don't really know anything about that. Can you tell me about that? And having that platform to be able to do that, from living in the dormitory, meeting people from all over the world, being put in places vulnerable, and allowing myself to be vulnerable, as I call it, the naked chicken, putting myself in those positions and just saying, I can do this. They don't know me. This is my story. This is me. There's other people that have that same story that need to hear this.
Bravo, bravo. Well, Sue, you know that I could talk to you all day long, and maybe we can meet up and talk over some tequila later.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but this is the end of our time, our interview on this video cast of Ask an Educator. So I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for your dedication in the classroom. Thank you for your dedication to the community. And thank you so much for all of your supports. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Ginger, and bringing her along. And thank you for all of your supports that you've given to LEC over the years. I mean, you name it, Sue has been there. And so it is with volunteers like Sue in our community that has made our work so much easier. She's brought us connections. She's brought us strength and ideas and creativity and opportunity. And I could go on with all that Sue has brought for us. So thank you so much for kicking off our 2026 Ask an Educator podcast or videocast so that we can really get into what it means to be an educator, not just asking an educator, but identifying why it's so important. And yes, our representation is so, so important for our community, for our city, for our country to be what it can potentially be and the best version of ourselves. So Sue, from the bottom of my corazón, gracias. Gracias por todo, okay?
De nada. Love you, love you, love you. Love this organization and what it does. Spread
Thank
the word. Deanna, go for it.
Go for it. April 7th, Deanna
That's
Munoz,
right.
Park Hill School District.
Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much out in LEC land. I look forward to bringing you these conversations over the next few months. We will be diving into our futuros, our new teachers to the classroom. We'll learn a lot about them and encourage them to stay in the classroom, to fight the good fight, and to be there to make the environments necessary to promote Latino youth. So thank you all very much for joining us once again. Dr. Valdez with Latinx Education Collaborative and Ask an Educator. Bye.